We'll call the September 7th Borough Council meeting to order here, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Can't even hear him.
Thank you. So all members of council are present. Council President Labenberg is on Zoom. Everyone else is in the Borough Council chambers. First, we have personal appeals, part 1. Anybody from the public has 5 minutes to state their appeal. Also say your name and address before you speak.
I'm the only one. My name is Richard Musselman. I live at 945 Franklin Street here in Emmaus. And I'm here to talk about, or to also, the Emmaus Recreation and Entertainment Commission. I attended 7 concerts in the park and 4 tunes on the triangle. And I enjoyed every moment of it. Someone that several minutes ago mentioned the large flower heads. That was the largest crowd by far. I didn't attend all for one reason or another. One of them, I just didn't like that style of music. My parents would have loved it, but I wasn't a Glenn Miller fan or a Tommy York fan of that type of music. Would have loved it. And the other band that I didn't attend, I had heard them 2 years ago, and they were exceedingly loud. So, but one band that I heard on Sunday night, I have never heard. I asked my friend, "Who is this? I've never heard her on the radio." Whatever. It seems that this woman composes, writes most of her own stuff, and it was really good. So I hope you will get her back. Now, who's the ranking member here that I'm looking at of the Mass Recreation and Entertainment Commission?
He's actually on the call tonight. Alan Sylvester is our chairperson of the Recreation and Entertainment Commission.
Well,
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you for the positive comments. We don't always get to have public appeals that are positive, so thank you very much.
well, please like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can hire them all back.
You're looking for something to do? There's some on the arts and commission. Want to be a volunteer?
He's like, didn't I just do my part? Is that what he's saying? He's like, didn't I just do my
Put
part?
him on the spot.
Because you have a lot to teach us.
So Mr. Musselman, I do have a quick question for you. So obviously, there were some different bands this year. They picked a couple different genres. So what did you think of, the different mix this year than what?
It's a great mix. I had them all.
Yep.
When he's talking from there, we can't hear a word he's saying.
Can you move over to the microphone?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you don't mind.
Thank you, Brent.
Because Alan's not hearing any of it either.
When, on the 27th, when audiophiles were there, we not only heard audiophiles, but also saw all the cars.
Cool.
It was nice.
Great.
So, yeah, you have a list, and I'd like to hear them all again.
Thank you for that feedback.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I apologize. So one last question, because there's a debate among the commission right now.
No.
And the question really is simply, if they were to move the concert to 5 o'clock rather than 6 o'clock, what would you think of that idea?
I'm surprised at the way they went from 6 to 9.
Yeah, it went pretty late. So they're probably going to adjust that next year.
6 to 8 worked well for so many years.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for that feedback.
Matter of fact, I don't know if I stayed till 9 for any of it.
Okay. Well, and that's very valuable for Mr. Sylvester, who's on the call, and his commission to hear that feedback.
And I wasn't aware of this on Sunday evening. I said, yeah, I hope it's warm enough tomorrow so I can go swimming for the last time. And then I was told, did you see the pool? I said, no, I've seen it often enough.
Well, you could have. I mean, if you wanted to take a mud bath, you could have jumped in. But
Well, I'm old. I've been in farm ponds.
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any, excuse me, do we have any public appeals from anybody online?
Here, we'll.
Shane's going to unmute everybody, and if you do, please speak up. Okay, I don't see anybody unmuting, so we'll mute them again. All right, next we have community minute. Does anyone from council have anything to bring up for the community minute?
Mr. Vice President, thank you. I have 2 items. Just a reminder that the Main Street's Farewell to Summer Festival is this Saturday from 11 to 4. There is a free movie at 4:15, Despicable Me at Emmaus Theater. And there will be crafts, music, and vendors on the Triangle, as well as the Scarecrow Trail.
It's on the 18th, right?
Yes, that's Saturday, the 18th. And then the second item is Ott Consulting is having a ribbon cutting on Tuesday, October 12th from 5:30 to 6:30, and the ribbon cutting will take place at 6 p.m.
Thank you.
My last item is happy birthday, Eve, to Shane.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
We'll sing at the end.
I would prefer not. I got enough of a treatment from you guys last year.
Does anyone else have a community minute to bring forward?
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
we have our dumpster day is coming up here on September 18th. So just a reminder, if the press would like to put that out, that we have our dumpster day going on.
Thank you. Any other community minutes? Okay, we'll move on to special presentations. We do have 2 of them tonight. The first is from the Emmaus Arts Commission regarding the 17th Annual Student Film Fest presentation. And Alan Sylvester is going to give the presentation from Zoom here. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you. Thank you, members of council. I just wanted to take a few minutes to come before you tonight and kind of talk a little bit about what the festival will look like this year. Last year, we did have it virtual because of COVID. This year, we are returning to an in-person festival. Our kickoff night will be October 15th at the Performing Arts Pavilion at Community Park. And the premiere, which is something we're doing a little bit differently, we're going to have a premiere at the Emmaus Theater, but we're going to have a whole red carpet, banners for kids to take their pictures. We're going to have, and then one of the other things we're going to have is nominees, similar to Oscar style, where after the students and the teams all submit their films, the judges pick like 2 or 3 of the best ones within the pool that the winner is chosen from. And so we're going to make it Oscar style. So we're going to have a MC come out, read the nominees' names, and kind of make it a whole night. And that evening will be on November 1st at the Emmaus Theater.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you have this, but you guys might all have the flyers in your packets tonight.
Any questions for Alan?
It's a great way to kick it off, and they've done this in the past years. It's good to see it's back, and thank you, Alan, for having all the different variety of items for the students. It's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right,
Our
thank you very
second
much.
special presentation tonight is Jeff Ott from Ott Consulting with the revised MS4 plan presentation. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great to be here. Great to see everyone. It's been a while since I've been in front of council. Football as well. So,
So you got to get right on the mic for this one.
is that better?
Yes, thank you.
So as you may know, the Emmaus Borough has an MS4 permit And on the last renewal, the borough was required to prepare a pollutant reduction plan, what we call PRP. That PRP was submitted and approved by Pennsylvania DEP, and the date on that, what we call PRP plan, was October 29, 2018. Since that time, we have been looking at the borough's PRP plan and planning to implement it. And what we noticed was a project that was previously constructed by the borough. It is the channel that's north of Wawa, which goes from North 10th Street down to Cedar Crest Boulevard. There was a fish enhancement project done there and stream bank restoration. And we thought perhaps we could talk to DEP and convince them to give the borough credit for that towards your PRP plan. We pursued that, and we do have basically a thumbs up from DEP. Yes, submit that revised PRP plan. We will look at it, and there's a good chance that we're going to accept that previous project as part of your PRP plan. This is going to cover the borough for many years to come, because we have to, I won't get too technical, but we're going to get many years out of this. And it's going to save the borough probably over $1 million. So we're really excited about that. And I'm excited to come and report that to Borough Council. It's always a good day when you find out you're going to save $1 million. In order for us to proceed and get this PRP plan approved, we need to advertise like the borough had in the past. So I'm here tonight in front of council to ask for authorization to go ahead and put an advertisement out into the press. We have to advertise it twice. Then I have to give proof of advertising to DEP, and then they'll process our request.
So you have a comment, solicitor?
So in this case, because you're not actually authorizing the spending of money, so I don't think the new Sunshine Act amendments are going to do that. And Mr. Ott is bringing this to council's attention now, so I believe it would be appropriate.
Yeah, we actually have it on the agenda under a
So
committee.
we'll discuss it later, correct?
Yeah, you can discuss it later, and then if you wish to vote on it, you'll be perfectly capable of doing so.
Anything else?
I would just need a motion to authorize the borough manager to place that ad as needed to comply with our public education outreach program.
Okay.
So we have that under health sanitation
Yep,
code.
that's what we talked about earlier. Yep.
Let me correct myself. It's your public input program. Sorry about that.
So I do want to, for as much as I harass this man, Mr. Ott, I want to thank you sincerely for all of your hard work with this MS4 program. I can tell you that the year prior to you becoming our engineer, when we did the original plan, there was a holy crap moment when we got, we received the cost estimate of what it would take us to meet the requirements over the 5-year period. And it was, if you go back and look at what that estimate was, it was well over $1 million. And Mr. Ott, when he came in, one of his first projects was to research that entire plan, rewrite it, but also to look at all of the hard work that's already been done and is in progress and that we continue to do, and why we weren't applying for credits for that work. Turned into a big discussion with him and a lot of effort between him and DEP. And so not only are we good for the first 5 years, but Mr. Ott believes that we should be well within the next 5 years of requirements for the pollutant reduction plan. So I give you all the credit in the world. We certainly appreciate your efforts and your team's efforts. And again, the borough and the partnerships we've had with, places like the Conservation District and some of the other local organizations that are making those efforts for things like stream bank restoration and the sediment reduction that we're doing. But you are owed all the credit in the world for this, and I just want to thank you.
You're very welcome. I can't take all the credit because I have a great staff behind me of very passionate engineers and technicians. And when we started talking about it, the ideas just kept coming. So we got on the phone with DEP and we were able to have a reasonable conversation with them. And I give the credit to the borough manager as well for cutting me loose on this task, and DEP and the Conservation District for supporting us. It was a great project, and why shouldn't you get credit for it?
And we have another one coming. You know, we received a partnership grant with the county to do the stream bank, to start the stream bank restoration. As many of you know, if you're ever down at William Street, you see the stream bank eroding, you know, and all the sedimentation reaching the stream. So, you know, that's another credit that we're going to get by doing that stream bank restoration project. And there was a significant grant that was received by the county in partnership with the borough to do that project. And Mr. Ott was able to obtain another DEP permit to do that restoration project.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Ott as it pertains to the MS4 plan presentation? I echo what Shane said. Thanks for all you do for us.
Thank you. It's certainly my pleasure, my honor. Have a great night.
You too. I need to go back because I apologize, Sarah. I forgot a section here. So we have a new assistant borough manager who started today, and I'm just going to turn it over to Shane for a moment to introduce Sarah to everybody.
So she is about 9 hours into the job, I think. Oh no, I guess it's about 11 hours into the job. So yeah, I'd like to welcome Sarah Jared Eaton to our team. Her first day is today. And what better way than to give her a full 12-hour day of work on day one. But today was day one and kind of a thrown into the fire type of day because it's a borough council day and not to mention it's a Tuesday. So not only did we have that, but we had all of our committee stuff today, as well as other things that we do on Tuesdays, like our meetings with the engineers and the architects. And she's had, I don't think we talked about what a normal day is yet. She's been in meetings all day. So you know, Mrs. Jared Eaton comes to us from a municipality down near Lancaster, as you're aware, Mount Holly Springs. I said that right? Mount Holly Springs. She was the secretary treasurer of that municipality for the last 4 years, I believe. As you guys all know, you interviewed her numerous times. I think she went through 4 rounds of interviews here. I want to congratulate her and welcome her. I think our staff is excited to have her. I think she's going to be a very valuable part of our team and a very large contributor to the efforts that we're making here. So welcome, Sarah. We'll see if she actually shows back up tomorrow.
She made it
That's
past
going to
lunch
be
today.
the.
She made it past lunch today. So
Yeah.
usually
That's
good
because
then.
we didn't let her go.
Welcome to the team, Sarah. All right, next we have the reading of the minutes. Does anyone want to make a motion on the council minutes? Councilman Hart, is there a second? Councilwoman McManaman? Any comments or questions on the minutes? Any corrections? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Passes 7-0. There are no decisions on bids tonight. We do have a number of items for communications here. The first one is SIPs and STEMs request from Caitlin Harrison. We're going to turn this over to staff, but Terry, do you have anything you want to say about this item?
I do know that they have had a successful event schedule with us on Thursday nights. They have sold out each night. So they are hoping to have more of these to close out this year and then into next year as well. And it's created a lot of buzz downtown, which is also nice. So we appreciate their coming to us with this event idea.
Thank you. So we will turn that over to staff as it's a recurring event in the borough. The next communication is a volunteer application for Recreation and Entertainment Commission from Louise Dylan Snyder. We'll address that later in this meeting in the Parks and Rec Committee section. Next is a volunteer application for the Board of Health from Carrie Camilla Toffany. The application has been referred to Health and Sanitation. There's a request for an event in here, the Juxta Hub Art Car Hootenanny. We received the request here. There's nothing that we have to do here as it's on private property. It's on private property. So we're just going to inform the police department and others in the borough of the event. The next item is a volunteer application for Recreation and Entertainment Commission for Matthew West. Again, that's referred to committee and will be addressed later in the meeting. And the last communication on the agenda is Seven Generations Charter School field use request, and we're going to refer that one also to the Parks and Rec, and that's going to be discussed later. Are there any other communications that anyone has that aren't on this list? All right. Next, we have no borough engineers report tonight. So next, we'll turn it over to the solicitor.
Just one brief item. I spoke to our prior solicitor, and the 5G ordinance should be prepared shortly hopefully by the end of this month. And we should have that in front of you guys for review finally. Other than that, I have nothing further to report.
Thank you. Unfinished business part 1, none. Next is new business. We have no new business. Next is unfinished business part 2. There is none. Items not on the agenda. Does anyone have an item not on the agenda? All right, hearing none. Brian, I do keep forgetting to look up at you, so don't be afraid to interrupt me if I'm not looking at you. Mayor's report, we'll turn it over to Mayor Gilbert.
Thank you. I have one item, and that is to inform you that Patrolmen Smith and Sachs have both completed their field training. So they are out on patrol. And you also have my quarterly report.
A cup of water,
uh,
like 2 cup.
in September. So if you have any questions, feel free. Progress.
Thank you. Next, we have committee reports. The first is Public Works, and that's Chairman Anders.
Thank you, Mr. Dufresne. Nothing for official action this evening. However, I did want to thank our Public Works. They were out and about during the storm the previous day. They were out pretty much all day and through the evening, clearing drains and ensuring what they can do to, make the water clear as quick as possible. So they did a great job. John Deshala, who's our Public Works Director, kept everybody busy and put in more than a full day, and we do thank him for those efforts. We meet tomorrow via Zoom at 4 p.m. And with that, I'll report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Anders. Next is Health, Sanitation, and Codes, Chairman Balliet.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We had the beginning here under special presentations. We had that presentation from Jeff Ott, and I'd like to put a motion to amend our pollutant reduction plan to reflect the revised sections in yellow.
So we have a moat
And advertise, right?
and advertise.
Yep, that's yeah, highlighted in the yellow.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Balliet. Is there a second? Councilwoman McManaman. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Passes 7-0.
Attached are our meeting notes. We also have dumpster day coming up here on the 18th. If anybody on council is available that day to come over and help, I'm sure Shane will be reaching out and trying to fill up a schedule with all of us, but everyone is welcome. Our next meeting is September 29th at 4:45. And with that, I'll report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Balliet. Next, we have Parks and Recreation, Chairwoman Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. Dufresne. We have 4 items for official action. We met just prior to this meeting. So the first 2 are for Recreation and Entertainment Commission. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Louise Dillon Snyder to the Recreation and Entertainment Commission for a term ending 5/1/2024.
So we have a motion from Councilwoman Baumgartner. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Anders. Any comments or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0.
The next item is a motion to appoint Matthew West to the Recreation and Entertainment Commission for a term ending June 7th, 6/7/2023.
So we have a motion from Councilwoman Baumgartner. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman McManaman. Any comments or questions?
I just, I'll reiterate what I said at the committee meeting today. This is our ambulance chief. And so I would like to publicly make it very clear that this gentleman has made it very clear to us that, he just moved into town a month ago. He wants to be involved in the community in more ways than just being the ambulance chief. He's now on the Board of Health. He wants to be part of recreation and entertainment. He wants to be an active member of our community. And that's the type of person that I'm excited about having as part of our team. So I want to say thank you to Mr. West. I also want to say thank you to Mrs. Dylan Snyder as well, as we really appreciate it. But it says a lot about, a person that just moved into town a month ago and already has a lot on his plate and wants to put more on it because he wants to be part of the community. So.
Agreed. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Passes 7-0.
So the other issue requiring action is a request that came from Seventh Generation Charter School to use Kleins Field during school hours as needed for outdoor activities with their physical education department. And they were asking if they could use the field, and they offered also to provide us with help and have the kids get involved in activities to clean up the community or do other community related activities. So that was discussed during our commission and everyone was in favor. So I'd like to put in the form of a motion to allow Seventh Generation Charter School to use Kleins Field during school hours, provided they add Emmaus Borough to their insurance.
So we have a motion by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hart. Any comments or questions? My only question would be, do we have to say school hours, Shane, or list the time?
I would, because we have that rented out, in the evening. So I would say during school hours.
Just leave it at school hours? Okay, so the motion's correct then. Okay, so any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Brent's muted.
Oh, he unmuted it. All right. Go ahead, Brent.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Passes 7-0.
The last item for action is not on the agenda. Do we need a vote first to?
To discuss it.
Yes.
So, yeah, under the new act, you guys have to vote to amend the agenda, then Shane will have to publish that vote and the actual new agenda within 24 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Shane.
No, that's okay.
So if you recall, last meeting, we had Tunes on the Triangle on our agenda. Their request for next year is to serve alcohol at the event. So that was discussed at committee. And this is through the Emmaus Main Street Partners, just to clarify. It was,
So before you go into any more detail, I would ask that Borough Council votes to allow us to discuss the matter.
I'd like to make a motion that we discuss this evening and it be added to the agenda.
So we have a motion by Councilman Hart. It looks like we have a second from Councilman Balliet. Take a vote then.
Yeah, no, take a
Any
vote.
comments? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Passes 7-0.
so this was discussed in committee. And
Shannon, can you talk a little louder, please?
Sure. This was discussed in committee and recommended by 2-1 vote. So I'd like to make a motion to allow Emmaus Main Street Partners to serve alcohol at Tunes on the Triangle in 2022. We talked about some revisions. That's sufficient.
I'm sorry,
I was saying we talked about some considerations that it has to be Emmaus Main Street Partners.
I would make those all part of your motion.
Okay. So this would be that Emmaus Main Street Partners would be sponsoring the serving of alcohol, and they would name the borough on their insurance.
As
As an
additional.
additional insured, yeah.
Insured, yes.
So that's your full motion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilwoman Baumgartner. It looks like we have a second by Councilwoman Anders. Any other comments or questions from the rest of council?
So I will just a comment to explain the reason why I voted no during committee. So my hesitance was just that it was a borough event that's promoted as a family-friendly event, and we have been hesitant about sponsoring alcohol at such events. And Ashley Laura was not at our committee meeting, so I wanted more information and was not prepared to vote in favor yet.
Thank you. Any other comment, Councilman Anders?
Yes, so I voted yes, and part of the reason is understanding that previously alcohol was less than 50 yards across the street on the sidewalk. Basically, yes, it was in front of a business instead. But nonetheless, it served, they can carry it right across to the triangle. I don't think it's much difference. I do feel like in the past we did allow an event at the triangle with the ice bar at least once a year. So I know this is a little bit more times than that, but I felt that if we had permitted in the past, that it could be permitted here with of course, there had to be a police presence there, which there is during the event. And of course, the insurance and that. So that was my feeling for the yes vote.
Thank you. Councilwoman McManaman?
My only other comment is that we have had success at Snow Blast with the ice bar. So it has been a precedent in the past. Main Street handles themselves beautifully when it comes to the insurance, the permits. So I wouldn't hesitate because of that. So thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Any other comments from council? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
We have a 6-1 vote. Councilwoman Baumgartner was the no vote.
That concludes the items. Since we met just prior to this meeting, I will update you on some things that we discussed. We discussed the success of the concerts over the summer, the end of pool season, which also wrapped up successfully. We discussed the flood damage to the parks and pool, which wasn't as extensive as it has been in the past, so that was promising. And the ongoing pool study, which will have a public meeting September 15th coming up. So everyone's encouraged to attend. And that concludes Parks and Rec. Our next meeting is October 5th at 4:45 p.m. via Zoom. Progress.
Thank you. Next, we have Public Safety and Chairman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Public Safety did not conduct any meetings since our last council meeting. Therefore, I have nothing for council's consideration. Our next meeting is scheduled for September 13th at 9:15 a.m. via Zoom. I report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Hart. Next, we have General Administration. Normally, Councilman Labenberg chairs this, so we're going to take this internally here, Brent. Hopefully you don't mind here. So the first one on Gent GA is accept the FEMA grant for the fire department. I'm going to turn it over to Shane so that Shane can give us a little briefing on that.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm very happy to announce that the borough has been awarded 2 FEMA grants. One of them is the Fire Prevention and Safety Grant that we've received in the past. Our fire department has taken on an initiative in the borough for a number of years now to install smoke detectors and CO detectors in residences across the borough. So I think this is our 3rd or 4th round of this grant, where our fire department will actually go into your home with a brand new smoke detector and CO detector and install it for you. So we received a grant. And this is fire math. Okay, I'm going to tell you this is fire math. It doesn't necessarily add up. But it looks like we received 2 years of grants, one for $47.92 and the other one for I think it's $1,712. That's what we're going to go with. Nonetheless, there's a small match, and you see the match is very minimal. What I would ask is that you accept the FEMA grant. Now, the math is closer to accurate on the other side of it, and that is the vehicle exhaust system. And this is a very important grant for us. As part of my presentation to you, when we were talking about the building construction projects, we had talked to you about the code issue with the diesel vehicles within the fire and ambulance departments and the very high cost of installing the vehicle exhaust system, the removal system. So we applied for a FEMA grant. And when I say we, yeah, I'm giving Chief Price the credit here, but he applied for a FEMA grant for on the fire side for the vehicle exhaust system in the fire garage, and we received federal funding in the amount of $95,238. Our match is $47.62 with a total project cost of $100,000. Now that doesn't cover everything, but it covers the majority of the cost for the vehicle exhaust removal system over there. So what we need is for Borough Council to vote to whether or not to accept the grants.
So do we have to make the motion separately, or can we make it together and vote on both?
I believe you can probably make them in one motion.
In this case, I think
Okay.
Mr. Pepe's correct.
Okay, so do we have a motion to accept the 2 FEMA grants for the fire department? Motion by Councilwoman Baumgartner. I forget to look over here, sorry. And we have a second by Councilman Hart. It's just easier to look over that way. I don't know.
See what happens when he leaves that side.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have any comments? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. It passes 7-0. Thank you. Next, we have a streetlight conversion. And again, I'll turn this over to Shane to bring us up to speed.
Sure. So going all the way back to over a year ago, as you know, we did the survey work. We put it out there for over 6 months to the community. We put it on our website. We put it on our Facebook page. We put it in the newsletter. We put it everywhere we possibly could, encouraging people to participate with the Streetlight Survey. And that was asking individuals whether or not they favored LED lights or the traditional street lighting that we have. As you know, the results, I think we discussed that in a couple months ago. Bottom line is, after all that wrapped up, it sat in committee for quite a while. And I would suggest the reason that it did was because the PPO program at that time, there was a charge with it, which would have came, and not that we were going to pay anything, but the savings that we would receive from it, from a conversion, was going to be much less, because that's how they were going to take out the payment for the program. So as council approved us having the ability to go out to PPO and possibly form a contract with them. We did that. We got a model contract from PPO. Our borough solicitor, which was Attorney Dimmick at the time, went back and forth with PPO, made several changes to their proposed contract, and he is highly favorable, as I think your notes that I have for you in there. He's highly favorable of us entering into that contract. It allows, the contract allows for us to continue to shop our electricity for streetlights, which is important, as we get a much more favorable rate by shopping it. But it also sets up the timeline and the number of streetlights they're going to convert at no cost to the borough. So the savings is going to be straightforward. Whatever we save for the from the conversion is our money. It's borough money. There's no payback to PPL. So they've changed that program over the last couple of years, and the contract reflects that. So my work here is done. Now it's up to you as to whether or not you want to move forward and do this. So your vote tonight would be whether or not you want to enter a contract with PPL to convert all of your streetlights to LED.
So does anyone want to make a motion to accept the agreement from PPL? Motion by Councilman Anders. Is there a second?
Second.
I think I heard Brent. We'll add him to the minutes here. So second by Councilman Lavenberg. Any comments or questions? Councilman Anders?
So I want to say that I think this has been on our agenda as long as almost I've been on council.
7
Going
years.
back to, Mr. Nate Brown, who, was on part of Public Works at the time. So a lot of time has been spent on it. And I think the time is right now, and the savings for the borough and for our residents, it's still a savings. And that's the reason I'm for this.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I feel like we talked about this 10 times now at our meetings. It's finally good to see where, I guess, it's official now.
Yeah, after tonight, if
Not
if
yet.
you vote in favor of it, if you vote in favor of it, the discussion's over. We signed the
There's
contract.
nobody not, there's
go to
nobody
work.
that's against it. We've been discussing this for how long now?
It's 7 years. I believe Mr. Andrews was right. I think this has been on the table for about 7 years for you.
All right.
Any other comments from anybody? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no.
No.
Who was that?
Both.
No, Mr.
Okay.
Hart.
6-1. And the only no was Mr. Hart, Councilman Hart.
I stand corrected.
Okay, you can see the meeting notes in there from August 26th, and the next meeting is September 9th at 9 a.m. Councilman Labenberg, you want to add anything to your section here?
No, but that's Thursday, so
Okay,
that's all.
yes, Thursday, September 9th. So with that, we'll report progress from General Administration Committee, pardon me. Next is Budget and Finance, and I'm the chair of that. So we have one item for action tonight. It's Resolution 2021-34, resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the September 7th, 2021 bill list as follows. The bill list, $624,546.11. Payroll number 17, $183,545.47. Payroll taxes, $58,967.62 for a total of $867,059.20 done this 7th of September 2021. Can we have a motion for that? Motion by Councilman Balliet. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Baumgartner. Any comments or questions? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Passes 7-0. All right, you can see the significant revenue and expenses in there for August of 21. And the meeting notes from August 26th are in there. And then our next meeting is Thursday, September 9th at 11 a.m. via Zoom. Unless anybody has any other questions, I would report progress. Community Relations, Planning and Development, Chairwoman McManaman.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. We had not had a meeting since our last council meeting, so there's nothing for official action. Our next meeting is Monday, September 13th at 4:30 via Zoom. I report progress.
Thank you. We do not have a junior council member at this time, so there's nothing to report there. In there, in the next section, you see boards and commissions, and you see the public libraries board meeting notes, and then 3 other sets of notes there that you can look at. Next, we have personal appeals part 2. Does anybody in the public have a personal appeal? And if so, state your name and address for the record. So Shane will unmute the public. Anybody have public appeal? Okay, I do not see anybody unmuting themselves. So we will move on to the borough manager's report. Shane?
So we have several items for you. First, Brett Hampshire has completed the requirements to advance to the rank of firefighter 1 within the Mays Fire Department. I would ask that you vote to approve that promotion.
A motion by Councilman Hart, second by Councilman Balliet. Is there any comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Passes 7-0.
Okay. You also see longtime borough employee and the face that you would see every time you would walk into the Emmaus Police Department. Cindy Pandel has retired from the borough. We wish Cindy the very best. Like I said, longtime employee, always was able to put a smile on your face. Cindy will definitely be missed. She was kind of like mother hen within the Emmaus Police Department. Everybody went to her with, she knew everything about every one of the police officers. They went to her for their issues, to talk, to confide in. I would say that she's going to be greatly missed. And Mayor, I don't know if you want to make any comments about that, but she, like I said, she was a long time kind of face of the window at the police department.
It's only, what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah.
And I miss her already because it's so quiet now. I don't hear her laughing. I don't hear her answering the phone. So yeah, she's missed and I miss her. She was a good employee.
And she's missed by the officers for sure. I mean, that was always the place where you would see one or two officers in there, you know, having a conversation with her, talking about, I don't know, she knew everything about everybody. She really did. So
She also gave all of the officers their nicknames, from what I
Yes.
understand.
yes, she
So
did.
We don't need to take any action. That's already
No.
happened. Right?
I would tell you who I hired, but the attachments have disappeared. So I will let you know. I'll let you know later who I've hired part-time in the fire department, in the ambulance department. But they have gone missing, which today, this program, for some reason, like something has gone crazy with it. One or two things, like all of a sudden you need a password to get into it. Attachments have gone missing and we have no idea why, because we didn't update anything. So I apologize for that. I will let you know who those individuals were, but I don't have them right in front of me.
Anything else?
Just that I'll need an executive session with you.
Thank you. So I'd just like to, thank Cindy also for all she's done for the borough and the residents. So next we have president's business. I do not have anything, but I'd gladly turn it over to President Lavenberg to add any comments here.
Mr. Vice President, I just want to say you did a really good job tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for filling in.
Thanks. All right, so we, as Shane said, we do have an executive session to discuss personnel issues. We will not have any action following this executive session, so we are going to ask to convene here shortly, to recess for the executive session. Like normal, if any media that is here, we will allow you to ask questions before we go into executive session, so you don't have to wait around for us to get through executive session. So we are going to, we don't need a vote to recess, right?
No, you just said.
So we're going to recess at 7:48 PM. And pause the recording. Okay, so we are out of executive session at 8:28 PM and there's no official action. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Balliet, second by Councilwoman Manaman. All those in favor say aye.
Bye.
Aye. Opposed, no. We are adjourned at 8:29 PM.